And we are now live on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and on Facebook for a special edition of Likeable Leaders. This is a Listening and Beyond edition where we feature one of the top speakers at the Listening and Beyond Summit in New York City, July 29th and July 30th. Joining me today, live on Clubhouse, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and on Facebook is Miss Virgilia Virjoghe. And let me tell you a little bit about Virgilia. She is a longtime corporate and personal brand strategist with experience, get this, with Versace, with Daymond John, Shark Branding, with Dolce and Gabbana, three of the best, biggest, highest end brands in the world, Versace, Daymond John, and Dolce & Gabbana. And then, since then, she's been on her own, building her own branding business, VV Global Partners, a firm dedicated to building storytelling branding strategies via a three-step method that we're going to ask about in just a moment. Virgilia, welcome to Likeable Leaders.
Thank you so much, David, and everyone. It's such a pleasure. You know how fond I am of everything that you are associating yourself with. It's personal branding at its best and also organizational branding at its best. Thank you for having me.
So, Virgilia, I want to get into branding in just a moment, but first, you know, for people watching and people listening who aren't yet entrepreneurs but have that itch, let me ask you this. How did you make the transition from working for other brands to working for yourself to become an entrepreneur? What was one lesson you learned along that journey?
I would say the transition has not been seamless, but one lesson that I learned is you bring the expertise for over a couple of decades into the entrepreneurship, but you have to tweak it and give more of a creative approach. I think working under the umbrella of a corporate world, we are so protected because we work with our teams, we have the product in our hands. When you make the transition, suddenly you have to wear all these hats yourself. You become the product, you become the brand, and you become the team. So suddenly you are wearing three main hats and you have to channel and bring your expertise and creativity, but also start thinking out of the box. So those are the things that I would say I mixed in order to just pave the way, which is still challenging and it will always be. But there's progression and there's great passion and vision there. But corporate world was certainly a great foundation for me that I am truly grateful for.
Thank you. So we're in on Clubhouse, at least, the branding hacks to get you more eyeballs on your business and service. What's one thing that you think is important in the world of branding that perhaps some people take for granted? What is something that people take for granted, but is actually very important when it comes to branding, Virgilia?
Our social media is our digital business card, David. And I still see successful personal brands not taking it seriously, right? Social media is not a playground. Social media is a tool for you to showcase your excellence, to monetize it, to forge strategic partnerships. It has to be taken very seriously. Every piece of content you post out there, every comment you add to anybody else's content has to be absolutely on point. We have to ensure that we are the best representation on ourselves with every word we put out there and with every picture and piece of content. So always think best face forward. Social media is our digital business card. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Virgilia. And I totally agree with you with respect to the importance of social media. Absolutely essential. Another branding question for you. What is one thing that you learned working for Dolce & Gabbana and Saks? I mean, the two of the biggest luxury brands in the world. I'm sure you walked away with some really, really great lessons.
I think romance product. What I did learn from all this sorry, I just realized I didn't unmute myself. So Dave, what I did learn is the exquisite element, the wow factor, the element of surprise, the reason people love fashion is because it instills in them not only an incredible aesthetic experience, but also the joy of being part of an exquisite lifestyle, right? When we think about fashion and powerful brands in fashion, they bring into the equation not only the beautiful clothes, the experience. Fashion in itself empowers us to feel like the best version of ourselves. When Mr. Gianni Versace created Versace, he said, I'm making clothes to empower women to feel like a queen when they walk into a room. So it's the vibe, the mindset that comes along with the clothing. And I would say fashion brings into the equation the wow factor, the element of surprise. You become the runway model of your own runway show, and keep that in mind for every brand that you build.
Love it. By the way, I am live with Virgilia Virjoghe, a upcoming Listening and Beyond speaker in New York City, July 29th and 30th. If you want more details about that summit, send me a private message with the word summit, SUMMIT, and I will get you more information on that. We are live on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Clubhouse. That's right. I don't think anyone else simulcasts on all four. I'm just saying, nobody else in the world tries this because it's technologically very, very challenging. And Virgilia and I are sitting here muting and unmuting like crazy people, but we do it because we want to reach as many people as we can. Speaking of that, if you comment on LinkedIn, you can enter to win one of my books. I will give away a copy of The Art of People, Likeable Social Media, or Likeable Business to one person who comments on my LinkedIn feed. So if you're watching, give us a comment, give us a question, and every comment or question is your chance to win a book. How cool would that be? Okay, I asked you about lessons from those luxury brands. Next question, Virgilia. What is one branding and or business lesson that you learned from Daymond John, the shark, the brilliant branding expert, the FUBU man himself? What did you learn from Daymond?
Don't ever compromise your personal brand. Pay attention to every detail. One day I walked inside of his office and I was wearing a Versace coat with a bag that was not necessarily on point with the rest of my outfit. And he said, I like the coat, but what's up with the bag? And that was the moment when I realized he is a perfectionist. He wanted me to be the best representation of myself with every detail, right? And sometimes I think what people misunderstand and take for granted is that we think the whole picture looks great, but it's actually the details that have a cumulative effect. People will remember Dave because he's wearing orange to perfection. They might think, yes, he is an incredible author, serial entrepreneur, amazing father, but when he's wearing that orange, that detail stays with me, right? So details do matter, and sometimes it's what imprints our personality in people's minds. So never underestimate details. That's what I would say that I learned from Daymond. And also another tool that I learned, always be humble. Daymond is one of the most humble people I know. He's just kind, he is just nurturing, but he never throws it in your face that this is who I am. And people respect them. It entices people to want to find out even more about you, right? And I think the element of surprise, I learned that from him. Let people discover you. Don't bring everything to the table. Keep things in your pocket and only take them out of your pocket when it's necessary. Always surprise people.
Love it, love it, love it. Thank you, Virgilia. And we're going to open it up to questions from our Clubhouse audience and stage, as well as LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you have a question, you can raise your hand, or you can comment if you're on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, or you can raise your hand if you are on Clubhouse, or you can flash your mic if you are already on the stage on Clubhouse. Very complicated, but nonetheless, we try. But first, I have two more questions for you, Virgilia. Second to last question from me. What is one thing that you are looking forward to sharing and talking about and teaching the folks that will be live and in person at the Listening and Beyond Summit in New York City?
So Dave, this is my favorite topic. I am very passionate about digitalization and technology. During the course of my career as a consultant, I had the pleasure of working with tech companies in Silicon Valley. So I'm definitely a geek in my own way. What I do love is the ability for brands to make an impact in a digital world completely different. 2021 completely repositioned the relationship that we have with our consumers and audiences online. Video content is more powerful than ever. So I wanted to share 15 seconds or 30 seconds of video content can never be underestimated. Share your knowledge with people, share your passion, look your best, feel your best, share that great, amazing energy via digital platforms. That's power. Pictures do not sell emotions. Videos do communicate. They create emotional bridges. They create the catalyst for us to build tremendous strategic partnerships, friendships, and so on. So capitalize on connecting with people. And one more thing, Dave, let's convert monologue into dialogue. I will be very passionate to speak about it. I still see on social media platforms lots of monologues. Social medias are the perfect tool, the vehicle to initiate dialogues with your audiences, with your consumers. Ask them questions, engage them, make them part of your story. It's not your story, it's the entire community story that you are part of as well. So that's what these are a few things that, Dave, I'm very passionate about sharing during my speech.
I love that, Virgilia, and actually it resonates really well with me because one of the things I wrote about in Likeable social media, and that's actually kept in every edition that we've done, is that social media is more like an improv comedy show than a Broadway musical, because you have to have that dialogue back and forth with the audience. Otherwise, what's the point? It's a one-way medium. Social media is, in fact, a two-way medium, not a one-way medium. Okay, we're going to open it up to questions from our audience on whatever platform you are on in just a moment. But first, my final question for you, Virgilia, is the question I ask everyone I interview. So here it comes. It's the tough one. What is the biggest mistake of your life? What is the biggest mistake of your life? And then, most important, what did you learn from that mistake?
The biggest mistake of my life is, sorry, I keep forgetting to unmute myself, Dave. The biggest mistake of my life is stopping to record music professionally, because people were telling me my accent will not get me a record deal. And I would say what I did learn from that: follow your passion, follow your heart. Don't allow people to tell you you are not good enough. It's one of the mistakes when we are perfectionists. We constantly allow scrutiny to make us shrink. Don't allow anyone to make you shrink. You know your vision, you know your passion. If you have the talent, if you have the persuasion for it, just do it, and don't allow naysayers to stop you. So I guess I would have to start recording again, Dave. That's the lesson that I'm learning, because I sang a couple of times in your rooms in Likeable Business Club, and I got the stamp of approval from Dave that my voice is on point. So guess what? Maybe I'm back, Dave.
You know, we're going to have to talk after this interview. Maybe I love business so much. Maybe I need to go into the recording industry and sign you. True story. I don't think I've ever said this on Clubhouse or LinkedIn before. No, I don't think I've ever said this publicly. I have a crazy bucket list item that I want to record and produce a Hanukkah love song. It's true, because every Christmas season you get Christmas song after Christmas song after Christmas song. And the only Hanukkah songs are, Adam Sandler's joke song, okay? Hanukkah is like the joke song when it comes to music and the radio. So what if there were a beautiful pop love song about Hanukkah? I'm just saying we need to talk offline, Virgilia, about this. Maybe we're going to do it today. I see lots of comments coming in on LinkedIn. I will choose a grand prize winner to win a copy of, actually, you know what I'm going to do? Because I see a lot of comments. The grand prize winner is going to win all three of my books. Likeable Social Media, Likeable Business, my best book that nobody's read because it has a bad cover, and The Art of People. You will win all three, and I will choose a grand prize winner right after our questions. But first, let's get to some questions. Flash your mic if you have a question for Virgilia Virjoghe, our guest of honor, and we're going to go to Gautam. Gautam, your question is first. What's your question for Virgilia?
Amazing. Thank you you so much. It's an amazing room to be a part of. And cheers to all the speakers, and especially Virgilia out there. It's damn great information that you just put out there. So much to learn, Virgilia, from you, and especially you, Dave. Okay, so my question is, because I run an influencer marketing agency, and I manage a lot of talents exclusively under my agency. What I've understood is that there are two parts of talents when they create content. One is organic and one is paid, right? Organic is mainly where they create content which is about their passion, right? Which Virgilia rightly said, follow your passion. But when a brand comes in, right, a brand tries to impose those metrics that go out of their passion points, right? That is, say, of course, Dolce Gabbana will not do that, but a brand like Kellogg's, or say a Nike or an Adidas, they try to implement their brand aesthetics to certain influencers or to certain talents, even just because their follower base come with the right target for the brand. But it generally does not fall under the organic fashion content points of that particular creator. So what do you advise to an agency like us, or to the influencers or the content creators out there, to look out for what are the points that when they should be doing brand collaboration? What should be those brand hacks to integrate brand beautifully and yet making it more seamless as an experience for the public?
Thank you, Gautam, for your question. It's something I feel very passionate about. Strategic partnerships are certainly the future, but they have to be executed very strategically and also authentically. I would say one of the biggest challenges we see with brands, they hire influencers who are not the right brand ambassadors for the respective brand. You always have to ensure that the influencers that represent a brand or become the face of the brand are credible, right? Because we do see in this era, we do see a lot of influencers become the face for competitive brands. And at that moment, they lose credibility. So I would say perhaps the brands are becoming a little bit more territorial and controlling. They want to reinforce the idea that this particular influencer that represents, the brand is in tune with the branding voice, which is very important. However, what if I would have a large brand, I would be more specific and cautious about the people that I hire for short-term projects. They have to be credible. They have to bring the wow factor into the equation, and they have to be able to speak about the product in a manner that truly connects audiences. Because what I do notice, it's a lot of times, a product is being presented out there, the emotional connection is not being established via the respective influencer with the audiences. And the audiences will feel the lack of authenticity. So the power of authenticity comes first. Also identifying the influencer that truly do justice to the brand. They do their research on the brand. They can ask questions and send questions about the brand, and they are credible. So I would think these elements have to come into the equation in order for the partnership to be credible and also generate revenue, which ultimately is the success of every partnership, revenue, right? I hope this answers your questions.
100%, 100%. What do you like?
Gautam, we got to move on. We are live with Virgilia Virjoghe on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Clubhouse. She is a branding expert. She is formerly of Versace and Dolce and Gabbana and Damon John, and now she has her own branding business, and it is just wonderful to have her here. We have time for a couple more questions, and please be concise with your questions because we are streaming across these 3 platforms. So sorry, Gautam, that I had to cut you off, but we do have to be concise for the entire universe here. Flash your mic if you're on Clubhouse and have another question. Sarah McCord, what is your question for Virgilia?
Virgilia, my question for you, because I know you went to some amazing parties working with these fashion brands. Could you share someone who you've met in person who had the most memorable personal brand you've ever seen, from what they were wearing to how they spoke? This is nerve speaking.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Love your question. So I'm going to pick a man and a woman. I'm going to start with the woman. Donatella Versace, Miss Versace in person. She is petite in stature, but she is a force of nature. When she enters the room, as Tupac Shakur used to say, all eyes on me, that's exactly what happens with Donatella. There's a powerful presence that she exudes. Is her, I think, loyalty to the brand, her passion for the brand. They make her larger than life. She might be 5 feet in height, but she's 7 feet in personality. And a gentleman that truly made an impact on me to these days, Allen Houston, former NBA player. I mean, what an exquisite human being. When he entered Versace, I remember precisely my knees fell weak. He is so eloquent, so kind, the way he dresses, the way he addresses people. I never felt more respected and acknowledged in my entire life. Now I'm thinking of a Maya Angelou quote. People might forget what you say or what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. When Allen Houston walked into the room, the way he made me feel, I felt special. And to this days, he remains one of the personal brands I really think that's the world of. I hope this answered, this gave you, Sarah, a couple of thoughts on people that inspire me.
Thank you. We have time for just one more question. We are live with Virjoghe of many, many amazing brands, but now she has her own branding consultancy. And she's jumped into off the deep end into the world of entrepreneurship, and she is one of our featured speakers at the Listening and Beyond Summit. I am going to choose a grand prize winner, winning all 3 of my books in just a moment. Last chance to enter to win by commenting or posting a question on the LinkedIn feed right beneath this. Mike Flash for any more questions. Okay, our final question. Sorry, Liana. But I'm going to go to Rebecca Martin. Rebecca, what is your question for Virgilia?
Awesome. Thank you so much. I am an acting, singing, and voice coach, and I'm trying to build my business. And I'm wondering, what's the best way to market yourself, either for your business or as a creative on Twitter?
Well, I keep forgetting to unmute myself. That's an interesting question, right? Twitter, I would say, even when you listen to what Gary Vee says, Twitter is the type of platform that is great for business, right? Now, the best way to engage is, first of all, there are 3 things I would take in consideration. I would make a list of the most important people that I consider ideal strategic partners for myself. Follow them. Make sure you turn on the notification. Make sure you respond to them as often as possible. Build that connection with the people you feel will help you to build your power circle and also get recognition. Secondly, Twitter is a very short attention span platform. Post videos out there, 5 seconds, that truly showcase your passion, your ability to be the best actor out there, the best voice coach, right? So I would say that, so the second would be some pow in the face, wow factor, short videos that you post on Twitter with a very short tagline. Think the type of taglines like Nike's "Just Do It," right? And third, I would say the power of authenticity never lies. Twitter is, yes, a bit of a tougher platform because tweets are coming with the speed of the light, right? In our feed. How are you going to stop the scroll? So what I want to provoke you with and take you out of your comfort zone and think, what is it about me as a personal brand? What are the top 3 qualities that if people see me in the street, they see me on Instagram, they see me on Twitter, or they see me in real life, these 3 core elements will make an impact on them. What are these 3 defining elements that showcase the best of who I am? And just continue to pursue that path with showcasing those 3 core elements on Twitter. It's like storytelling for Twitter. Just challenge the status quo of Twitter, I would say.
Awesome. Thank you, Virgilia. And I'm afraid this LinkedIn Live is running out of time and has run out of time. So I want to thank everyone for watching, for listening. I want to thank most of all Virgilia for joining us today and for speaking at the Listening and Beyond Summit. For more information, go to listeningandbeyond.com, or you can DM me, private message me the word summit, or you can private message Sarah or Virgilia the word summit, and we will take great care of you. I have a grand prize winner, and it's the 3rd person from the top of my screen right now, Lon Sutherland. Congratulations, Lon Sutherland. You're winning not one, not two, but 3 of my books. All 3 of my fancy published books. You don't win my self-published book. It's not as good. You win the 3 main books. Send me a message with your address. We'll get those 3 books out to you. We have another room on Clubhouse starting, but first I'm going to say goodbye to my LinkedIn, my YouTube, and my Facebook audience. Thank you all so much for joining me today, and have a super, super